If you feel like you've been trying your best and things just haven't really been working out for you, I have a story that's going to make you feel better. So my 5-year-old daughter loves like fairy tales and myths and stuff. So at bedtime, sometimes we read this book. It's really beautifully illustrated. And one night we're talking about this, the golem. And she's reading it and she's like, Papa, who's that wizard guy there? And I was like, oh, that's not a wizard. That's the rabbi of Prague. And he's making the golem of Prague. And so she says, why is he making that monster? And I said, well, there were a lot of people in that area that wanted to hurt him and his family and his friends. And so he made the monster to be able to protect them. All right, good night, kiddo. See you in the morning. And as I stand up, she gets real quiet and she goes, Papa, do you know about Nazis? I didn't think I was going to have to talk to her about Nazis for at least another 5 years, and I was hoping I could introduce the concept while watching their faces melt off in Raiders of the Lost Ark. But I take a deep breath and I sit down and I go, yeah, kiddo, I know about Nazis. How do you know about Nazis? She said, I saw a picture at school, but they're not real, are they? And I was like, well, they are real. They came from a place called Germany, which is actually where your grandma lived, and her family left Germany when the Nazis came into power. So she goes, are they still real? And I was like, yeah, unfortunately, there are still Nazis. And she goes, are they here in New Jersey? I said, yeah, I'm sorry, there actually are some in New Jersey. And she's like, are they trying to kill my grandma? I was like, no. The Nazis weren't going after your grandma. They were going mostly after a group of people who are Jewish. And we have a lot of Jewish family and friends. And I name some aunts and uncles and, also a small kid her age who is Jewish and say those are people that the Nazis really didn't like and tried to hurt. So I end up calming her down enough to get her back to sleep, and then I go down to my wife and I'm like, we have to figure out why she knows about Nazis. So we reach out to her teacher and we're like, hey, what's going on? And the teacher says, we don't talk about Nazis in school. And we're like, yeah, we're sure you didn't, but was there a kid in class who brought it up? She said she saw a picture, and the teacher just goes, it's the last day of summer camp. I'm going on my summer vacation. I didn't tell her about Nazis. Goodbye. So anyway, it becomes this whole thing where we're talking to our therapist, we're talking to all of our friends and our family and trying to be like, what would you do if your 5-year-old asked about Nazis? And so we go through this whole thing and it's kind of like subsides until this weekend. We are sitting at the table and we are listening to podcasts, and there's this lovely little mythology podcast that my daughter loves to listen to. And she says, Papa, can we listen to the story about the Nazis? And I go, what story was that? And she says, the one about the big spider. Anansi is a West African trickster god who helped create the sun, moon, and stars and brought stories to the world. So the next time you feel like you're not quite nailing it, just remember you can try your best and still end up telling a 5-year-old that the Nazis exist, and not only that they exist, but they are a race of spiders who chased her grandma out of Europe and are trying to hurt her friends. The world is chaos. You're not in control of anything.